I sure do wish I had a new pair of boots.
Wish? Did somebody say wish?
Probably Curtis did, Johnby. He needs a new pair of boots. Would it be all right if I gave him my wish?
Sure it would, Pee Wee. But you know you only get one wish a day. Are you sure you want to?
Yes, I'm sure. Doing something for someone else will make me feel good.
Today we're going to be looking at where Paul Reubens is buried. We're going to be looking at his gravesite. But we're also going to be talking about the beginning of his career, part of his career at the beginning. We're also going to be taking a look at one of the filming locations from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And we're also going to be taking a look at the place where he passed away. If you're on board, let's go. Now, Paul Reubens' early years were in a group called the Groundlings, and the Groundlings were an improvisational comedy group. The Groundlings were from Los Angeles, and Paul Reubens was in the Groundlings sometime in the mid-70s. While Paul Reubens was in the comedy group, this is when he created Pee Wee Herman. He would perfect it with his fellow writers at the time, very unknown Phil Hartman and John Paragon. And it would help Paul Reubens to hone in on what Pee Wee Herman was really all about. It was through these three comical geniuses that the Pee Wee Herman show was born. And it started out as a stage act, a stage performance. The stage performance of the Pee Wee Herman show got so popular that they would sell out every night. In fact, it got so popular, they had to move it to a bigger theater, the Roxy Theater, which continued to sold out performances. When the Pee Wee Herman show would continue with the sold out shows at the Roxy, HBO would come into the picture. HBO would film the full stage play. And that show, the Pee Wee Herman show, would introduce Pee Wee Herman to the world. Now, what was great about the live Pee Wee Herman show on HBO is the fact that it was just raw. It was a raw, real, from start to finish, a play, and it was in front of an audience. So the audience that you hear throughout that were not a laugh track for sure. It was a real audience. It was raw, it was edgy, it was funny, and on top of that, it was very creative. We also have to remember that this came out in 1981. So it was 5 years before Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and it was 6 years before the toned down for kids, toned down for TV version of it, Pee Wee's Playhouse. Pee Wee's Playhouse came out every Saturday morning, and it was a very toned down version of the Pee Wee Herman show from HBO, but it still captured the spirit and the humor. So let's just take a step away from the cemetery just for a minute, and let's go look at the filming location from Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the house of Pee Wee. Let's go. So right now I'm in South Pasadena, and right behind me here is the house that was in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Now, as we all know, this movie came out in 1985. It was directed by Tim Burton, of all people. Very early Tim Burton movie, and the house was a barn red color while the movie was filmed. This is the movie that kickstarted Tim Burton's directing career. The budget of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure was approximately $7 million and earned nearly $41 million at the box office. I believe the exact date of the theatrical release of this movie was September 9th, 1985. So right here by Beverly Center is Cedars-Sinai Hospital. And this is the hospital he was rushed to, and this is also the hospital that he passed away. And this is over on Beverly Boulevard over in West Hollywood, California. Paul Reubens was very secretive about his struggles with cancer. In fact, most people did not know. The press didn't know. A lot of his fellow actors did not know. Only the people that were the closest to him knew that he had severe cancer. And in fact, the public did not know until the day Paul Reubens passed away. And just to talk about it in layman's terms, he had blood cancer, leukemia, and he also had lung cancer. Now apparently, according to his autopsy, his main cause of death was his lung cancer, and his second cause of death was leukemia. Now his fellow actor and friend, John Paragon, is right this way. Let's go look at his grave real quick. Now, John Paragon was in most of Pee Wee Herman shows, TV shows, and movies. And oftentimes he would show up as Jambi the Genie. But he also voiced Terry the Pterodactyl. Now, for almost a year on the website To Find a Grave, they actually said that Paul Reubens was definitely going to be buried here at Hollywood Forever. But they were saying that possibly, there's the same possibility, that it was going to be right by John Paragon.
Pee Wee is a conglomerate of me and a couple of other little kids that I knew when I was a little kid. I used to work in Florida at the Oslo Repertory Theater, and I did a season of Life with Father for 3 months, and by the time we had finished the run, I was playing the second oldest teenager. And by the time we finished the run, I had turned the character into a cartoon without even realizing it. And I was, good morning, mother, and that was where Pee Wee's voice came from. And Pee Wee was a name that I just thought was, an attractive kind of name. I worked at the Groundlings improvisational group here in Hollywood for about 3 years. And towards the last year, I needed to expand Pee Wee into something else. I had about a 10-minute stand-up act that I was doing as Pee Wee. And I really needed to expand that and do something different with it because I wasn't really a stand-up comic. So I got this idea to put him in a playhouse and to, develop a show along the lines of the old kid shows in the 50s. And the rest is history.
So I really love the touch of the bow tie. That is so awesome. So right now we're at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and I'm standing right by Paul Reubens' gravesite. Very easy find if you look on the website Find a Grave. So this is the gravesite, the headstone of Paul Reubens. He was cremated, so it's his ashes that are buried here. No, it's a pretty simple headstone. It just says Paul Reubens, the date he was born, August 27th, 1952, and the day he passed away, July 30th, 2023. But it is a beautiful headstone. I love how clean and shiny it looks. And now on a little side note, Pee Wee's gravesite is right by Burt Reynolds. Now, Paul Reubens didn't just play Pee Wee Herman. He embodied Pee Wee Herman. What do I mean by that? Well, when he became Pee Wee Herman, it was almost like not an act, even though it was an act. I think they consider that as a method actor or something like that. But when you saw Pee Wee Herman, you thought Pee Wee Herman. I mean, there was almost, for me anyway, no real separation. And in fact, when Pee Wee Herman showed up in credits, oftentimes did not say Paul Reubens. It said Pee Wee Herman on the credits. Look it up. Rest in peace, Paul Reubens. You brought smiles and laughter to millions and millions of people all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. And if you like this video, you're also gonna like this video right over here. It's a video about saying goodbye to the, maybe saying goodbye to the Back to the Future Mall. And if you wanna check out something else, another graveyard tour possibly, check this video out right over here. And I'll catch you guys over in either one of these, and take care.